Welcome back, everyone. It's NYU Grads Daily Podcast. Market just closed. It's about 4:30 Eastern Time. This will be a quick one, but let's jump into the session. So, looking at breadth, we had 996 new highs today versus 206 new lows. 48% of shares were advancing versus 47% declining. When you take a look at the 50-day moving average, you had 44% of stocks under its 50-day. And when you look at the 200-day moving average, 37% were below its 200-day moving average. Pretty broad rally. I would say the only negative was a lack of volume until like the end of the day. Like SPY at like 245 was only at like 27 million shares traded or something like that. It caught up. I think it finished like with 50 million shares traded, but the average daily is 77 million shares. It's not such a big deal, but it's something to note when it's a low volume rally, lacking some conviction. However, it was pretty broad. It wasn't just the Magnificent Seven. A lot of shares were green in the Russell as well. But taking a look at the big mega cap names, you had Microsoft up 2.07%, Nvidia up again 2.61%, Google up 0.9%, Meta up 3.27%, Amazon up 0.82%, and Apple basically break even at 0.01%. You got a lot of healthcare names all in the green as well. Typically, you'll see one or the other up and the other down, but today both were up. Tech as well as healthcare. Eli Lilly, LLY, up 2.89. AbbVie up 1%. UNH up 1.7%. So yeah, it was a very broad rally for the most part. What else stuck out today? The 10-year yield is also up. The yield for the 10-year is 4.115. So at 4.11, we're right in the midpoint between 4.5 and 3.5. I think, however, the 10-year Treasury yield goes, whether up or down, is going to be very binary. And there's a few key events coming up next week. We'll have the CPI and the PPI report. So that's going to be a big mover for the markets next week because it's going to all imply on rate cuts or higher for longer, inflation, etc. What else stuck out today? When you take a look at all the sectors, it was heavily led by technology to the upside, then consumer cyclicals, then the industrials, communication services, basic materials, then financial. They were all green today. Companies like Roblox reported, RBLX, they were up 10% on earnings. So it was very risk on type of day. What else? We had a bit of a bounce on the New York Community Bank shares. So after being down almost 50%, it finally caught a bid, and it is above 450, I believe, at the close. So it bounced pretty hard. It'll be interesting to see what happens after their downgrade to junk. But just some of the names that were up today, I'll rapid fire like I usually do. You have Roblox up 10.2%, New York Community Bank up 6.67%, ARM Holdings up 5.5%. You had Shopify up 4.4%, Kura Sushi up 4.03%, Meta up 3%, MongoDB, MDB is the ticker, up 3.18%, Kava Group 3.11%. What else? Marathon Digital up 2.8%, Nvidia up 2.75%, and Affirm Holdings, the buy now pay later, They report tomorrow on Thursday after the close, but today they were up 2.72%. What was weak? You had shares of Lyft down 5.8%. You also had K. Hovnanian, the home builder, down 4.03%. You had BITI, a Bitcoin ETF, down 2.6%. PJT Partners, a private equity firm, down 2.56%. And Rivian down 2.13%. Keep in mind, before I sign off here, that next week is really the bulk of the economic data reports. I'll actually post the screenshot of the calendar from today till next week. But on Thursday, February 8th, we have initial jobless claims in the morning, wholesale inventories at 10, and federal President Tom Barkin speaking at 12:05. You do have on Friday CPI seasonal factor revisions, but it's not as important as next week. On Tuesday, you get the core CPI numbers at 8:30, and then you have on Thursday, February 15th, initial jobless claims, retail sales numbers, and then on Friday, you have housing starts and the core PPI. So busy week next week as well. I may be offline this Friday, February 9th, but I'll keep you guys posted tomorrow. I might just take the day off and have a 4-day weekend, but I will keep you posted through the next podcast. So I will see you all after the Thursday session. All right, later. Oh, and before I go, I did forget one thing, just a quick reminder for the pledgers of the Substack. I did send out a pledgers only content earlier today in the afternoon, so please check your inbox for that. All right, see you on Thursday after hours.